Everybody still got their energy up? Yeah? Woohoo! All right. Woo! There you go. So you've heard a lot about guest-facing AI and revolution all day long, and we're going to talk a little bit about some parts of the experiences that guests tend to not see, places where they tend not to go because there's a lot of operational efficiencies. So we have Chief Technology Officer of the world's largest hotel company, and Kurien here has been investing in hospitality startups with a long perspective, and several of his companies include Lodge IQ, Lighthouse, 7 Rooms, Hotel Trader. And so they see different aspects of this ecosystem. So we're going to talk about some AI innovation today. So Naveen, I'd like to start with you, please. When over a course of a decade, I've interviewed a lot of people, and when it comes to hotels and technology, there is this persistent idea that hotels are sort of behind the curve. How does Marriott, and some of that I think is related to the hardware era, and so now, how does Marriott sort of keep pace with AI adoption without breaking things?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me. It's really a privilege to be here representing my great company. I've been a fan of your work, Sean.
Thank you.
And Kurien, I met you recently, and I'm falling in love with your work as well. So thank you for having me here. At Marriott, we've been embracing AI, the classic AI, I would say, for a long time. Just like most of the travel hospitality companies, the classic AI permeated into some of the classic platforms that we always built, like revenue management, like data analytics, and tech ops, et cetera, et cetera. So the classic AI is definitely not new to us. But something magical happened on the 30th of November, 2022, when ChatGPT was released to the world, right? And within a couple of months, 100 million users jumped on it. So our exploration with Gen AI, the generative AI, really started in 23. And it kind of started as a small, humble 48-hour code fest, as we call it, essentially getting our business and tech teams together and throwing out a problem to solve. And a lot of use cases got enabled in a 48-hour span, which were not really that easily solved without a large language model in the past. So since then, in 2024, we formalized this exploration into what we call an AI studio. With 3 core missions of the AI studio, really to look at the 3 customer personas we serve in our industry, right? Our 250 plus million Bonvoy guests, and if you're not a Bonvoy member, I want to see you outside. Our 800,000 associates who wear the Marriott name tag on a daily basis, wake up serving these guests. And then our 3rd customer persona, which is our owner and franchisee. So really, we looked at use cases that are applicable across these 3 customer personas, and we've been really hard at working and enabling these experiments in the studio, and then taking those experiments and scaling them across our 9,500 hotels in 140 plus countries. So I want to say and challenge the perception that hotel companies are behind. We're definitely not behind, but I will say that we are experimenting any new emerging technology with both ambition and caution, with security at the center, right? As custodians of our guest data privacy and security, we have to remind ourselves that we have that obligation to do that. So it's both ambition and caution.
Cool. And we heard earlier today from the CEO of Citizen M, and I had been talking to him earlier this week, and he said when they were looking at different hotel groups to acquire them and work with, they were particularly impressed with Marriott's tech stack because of the configurability, the ability to, the thinking of it is not just sort of a narrow segment, but looking through exactly what those 3 groups, having a single pane of glass, pulling in a lot of data for the owners, as well as the associates and so forth. So we'll hear a little bit more of some examples of that later, but Kurien.
And he actually said to ask him the tough question. What are you going to do with it?
There you go.
I will. So, Kurien, when you're sort of in a different position looking at all this. I've been to probably more than a dozen, tech conferences over time, and a lot of it focuses on certain themes. What frustrates you about how travel companies tend to think about the AI opportunity, and you sort of want to sort of shake some sense into them?
Yeah, I think I was born for AI, guys. I'll tell you why. Because go back 25 plus years, I know I have some Prashad, Priya, Sulu. All we did was clean data. That's all we did. We were just busy cleaning data. So we were born to get into this aspect of doing AI in the end. So this is going back there. So where do we get it wrong? I think the first step is we gotta recognize that travel or hospitality is fragmented. Don't complain about it. It's there. We can keep saying that it's fragmented, but that's the opportunity too, because you can use the fragmentation, you can use the diverse systems, and AI today is, and once you build a foundational data layer that brings all these disparate systems together, and use AI more from an infrastructure. AI is not a UI alone. It's actually the whole infrastructure layer is very critical. So bringing that together and adopting that, it will actually drive innovation versus talking about AI as just use cases. And if you go back and take the stats speak for itself. I mean, legal is the most highly used. They're using AI the most today. Thank God, because with the billing rates of $2,000 an hour, you probably need some of that.
I hope there's no lawyers in there.
Yeah, presume that. And then if you see other industries, clearly travel and hospitality, or more so hospitality, is probably less than 1%. And we're 10% of the world's GDP, so we're still scratching the surface. But the application potential is probably the most over here. And the second thing is I think there should be a philosophical shift in mindset. Technology is there, AI is there. With that philosophical shift that AI adoption will only help you get better. And it's not going to get you worse. It's not about protecting your jobs and saying, I need to show I'm doing something more. It's going to do a lot of tasks for you so that you can actually do something more intelligent. I think that philosophical shift is there. And then trust, starting to trust. Rome was not built in a day. The AI model is not going to solve 100% of your use cases overnight. It's going to solve 50%, 60, 70, 95, 99. At 100, game over. That's AGI we're talking over there. But I think that those are the kinds of things that we as an industry should really focus on because it can be massive for us opportunistically.
So as a rough paraphrase, I would think we need to think more holistically, not like a series of use cases. In the field, we need to be incorporating into our life as a different mindset that we see. At the NYU conference, someone said a lot of people treat AI as sort of like that nephew that you have to hire into the job for the summer, but you're really begrudging it. And instead, you think of them as that genius child who has so much potential, but it's just kind of a little quirky. And you can coax it out. So it's a little bit about shift in mindset and sort of.
Correct. But you also can, to Naveen's point, you can start building small use cases. You don't have to build the most transformative thing overnight. And so what we see in some of our companies, they're building small things. But like you're probably going in a bunker and building something very unique that's going to happen. So you're going to see those small transformations. Small inventions coming out, ultimately leading to a broader transformational AI adoption and shift in using some of these companies.
Thank you for that clarification. Naveen, do you have any opinion on what travel companies get wrong about AI?
I would like to take a slightly different perspective since I was not born in AI like Kurien is.
One data.
So I think personally, the thing I am not too crazy about AI is the A in AI, artificial. Especially in a people serving people business like ours. I would like to think about the A in AI as automate, assist, augment, aid, any version of that, right? What that really says is, as emerging technologies take hold, and every once in a while, there's a technology that comes alive that changes everything, and we believe AI is that for sure. Generative especially, classic has been around for a very long time. It's, how do you eventually refactor and recast the A with human at the center? How do you do that with the customer at the center? So I would love to wake up a couple years from now in a world where AI-assisted hospitality is immersive, is personalized, and unmistakably human. Game over at that point, right? So it's always reminding ourselves, who are we in the service of at the end of the day? And then we can crawl, walk, run to that AGI space over time, but I would like to think about it that way.
So the only difference is, I would say, to your point, if we are in experience and hospitality, we don't want agents to be sitting there and doing this. Can I help you?
Absolutely
Can I help
not.
you? A lot of the stuff is going to be done for them using combination of AI, robotic process automation.
That's
You're doing a lot of that
automation.
stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking about the mundane stuff. Imagine you come to me and I talk to you versus I'm sitting there. I think I totally agree with you. That's where the journey goes. That personalization is key. So this doesn't take away that. The machine is never going to do that for you.
Cannot,
That
right.
human connection is always going to be there.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So we'll get some examples of immersive, personalized, human-centric technology. If you have any questions for this panel, please feel free to put them in the app, and we'll get to them at the end. Each of you have sort of like a visual demonstration to sort of talk about what you're going through, and I'd like to go with Naveen's first. So
Yeah.
you have on the screen here, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so please get comfortable with the uncomfortable 30 seconds of silence. There's no music in this video, but just to kind of make it real. And the point that Kurien and I are talking about, think about a big box hotel that has thousands of rooms, that the front desk agent wakes up every single morning trying to plan for their per-arrival tasks. And some of them can be looking at all the upcoming arrivals for the day, looking at the guest preferences, looking at the res preferences, which, by the way, can be different than your profile preferences based on your trip purpose. Then looking at occupancy of the hotel, looking at the length of stay controls that we have. And then all of that in order to basically assign a room to the guest. And just when you thought you're done with that, now they open this little black book or this cheat sheet and look at all these guests and then trying to upgrade these guests to the next available room type of the room. This is a multi-hour exercise that gets repeated multiple times a day. There you go. You got it, right? So as something as simple as that is a great candidate for the other A in AI, which is automate. Essentially, the teams went into the bunker for just a few weeks, not many years, and came with an innovation that really essentially factored all the business process that goes into assigning that room activity, coded the algorithm, and built a model that continuously learns from how the assignments are done, and we piloted it at a few hotels. Well, the first run didn't work. In other words, the human overrode every assignment that was done by the algorithm. But the beauty of the test and learn is we've learned a lot from the test. We took those lessons back into the model and improved the model and then really refactored the architecture to be able to improve on it, and then expanded it to a set of pilot hotels and then learn more from it. And this technology is now getting ready for general deployment. So essentially taking hours and hours of manual labor, manual work, all that heads down work that the associates do, and in a fraction of a second, 1.2 million rooms can be assigned. Now, where the human comes into the loop is still giving the power to the front desk associate to override that and make a decision on the fly. But then the feedback loop goes back into the machine learning algorithm. So to me, I think that's a great example of how you can grow AI experiments to scale and then get the benefits out of it.
And Marriott won an award for this, right?
That's right. Thank you for reminding me that. The team won the award for this, and we're very humbled at that. This was just recently at the 2025 CIO.
That means you've taken away all those GMs who used to have that arrival list printed out and said, make sure this guy is upgraded, he gets category 3, 4, 5, like all of that stuff.
Yep.
It's taken away, it's gone.
Kurien is dating himself because this was a practice many, many years ago. You're right. You're right. Thank you.
One of the themes I want to get out of this conversation are what are some exciting ways that people are using data to make decisions now. So you have a video from one of your companies, Lighthouse. It has, it's like a sound, so maybe if we can play that now, and then you can talk after.
Hotel commercial teams are swimming in data, but struggle with finding answers. AI helps commercial teams find those answers in a sea of data. Lighthouse Smart Alerts surface actionable takeaways by analyzing competitor pricing, demand data, and pickup and pace. These alerts are accessible to the entire commercial team and solve real problems. In addition, AI-enabled custom reporting allows teams to ask in-depth conversational questions and receive a clear response. This is how AI is actually making a positive impact for hotel commercial teams.
Yeah, I think that was a simple, like Naveen's was an excellent example on the operational side, which is, I totally agree with that, room assignment and all that stuff, huge amount of operational efficiency there. Just here's a classic example where you have hoteliers, whether it be a very small hotel or a large hotel, it doesn't matter the size, but they're swimming in data. The data is exploding every year that we go back, the kind of amount of information data. It's humanly impossible to start really sifting through all that. And here's an example of a small take of just providing some key insights as to what's going on. And taking a look at that, and still the human can actually go in and see based on the insights, is it the right kind of insights? And over time, as these models, one of the most important things of AI models is something called reinforced learning. The human learning coming back to these models is what's going to make it smarter. So this is just a very simple example of how it can be actually used to drive top line and not just the operational efficiency side. So.
Cool. And you have another portfolio company. So Highgate, you take minority stakes in hospitality-specific startups. You have that as a vertical. Yeah. You're a vertical investor, right? Correct. And you have another. So this is Hotel Trader, which is another investor. What is this? What makes you excited about this?
So this is a classic case in which you talk about AI actually writing code. I mean, who would have thought that the people working on AI are the ones who are going to use code for that? So it's actually true. You have less requirement for people who are writing code at a junior level. You actually have requirements of prompt engineers, architects, and the rest of it. And here, they're in the business of integrating platforms. You can take the specs, upload the code, the AI writes it, it runs 90% of all the tests, and goes live. If you go to the next slide very quickly, what does that show? 60% less stuff. You can see the Q&A, the number of
quality
stuff.
Assurance.
And all of that can be done. What this does, it gives many startups or platforms or innovative companies the ability to compete with legacy systems and people who don't adopt it, and continue to ship good product out faster. So that's the case over there.
Fantastic, Kurien. So we have some audience questions. So what will not change in the next 1 to 2 years regarding AI adoption within the hospitality tech space?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. What will not change? I think the very premise of why we do what we do, empathy, being hospitable, friendly, reliable, personal experiences will have to remain the same, and that's the essence of what we do. Technology and emerging tech like AI will influence and inform that service and then make that service better and more actionable. And really the surprise and delight aspects of what we do are something that are going to be there forever and more. So not 1 to 2 years, maybe many decades.
So the CEO of Anthropic, which is the maker of Claude, Dario Amodei, said last week that he expects within the next 1 to 5 years the mass elimination of jobs. And we've talked a little bit about earlier today. But if AI, the way OpenAI and others talk about it, is going to be as big as they say it is, that changes a little bit what some of the point solutions and smaller startups do it. So we have another question is, what do you think about investments in AI? Should hoteliers be trying to tinker and invest directly themselves or partner with tech players? What do you think, Kurien?
How do you think about should hoteliers tinker, investor, oh yeah. So the fundamental role of a hotel is to serve the guests and serve the guests very well. It's not about technology. The technology around it is meant to achieve that mission. Obviously, in the case of Marriott, it's very different. They're a much larger firm, and they can absolutely do all of that. So the core focus is still, if you don't have the resources, you have to collaborate with tech companies to do that. And the difference is, it's never going to be constant. If you collaborate with a company that keeps on focusing on the future, what you get today is not what you'll have tomorrow. And that's the difference. Most people say, I'm going to work towards something, build a product, and then realize that, hey, the world has changed. There's a lot more to do. So that innovation is there. So you would still want to collaborate with tech platforms that are there. And be partners.
Well said. If I may add, Sean, I think the question's saying, should the hotel companies directly invest themselves or go play with the tech players out there? I would like to think about that not as a binary decision. It's not a build or buy. So at Marriott, we have a core technology philosophy, which is you buy for commodity, you buy for general purpose, and then you build on top for differentiation. So we're always bounded by that as we make our tech investments. And if Kurien's building an amazing piece of innovation, I would love to partner with him and not redo it myself. But then I would take advantage of that investment Kurien has already made and build on top to differentiate myself from the rest of the competitive set. So that's how I would like to think about it.
And that's why you're not doing a systems-based approach to tech. You're doing it's not a re-platforming at Marriott. You're doing a whole systems. How would you describe it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Sean's referring to this multi-year technology transformation that our company has been working on for a couple of years now, where we're kind of debunking this notion of thinking about technology as systems and instead really embracing this notion of thinking about technology as capabilities, and the companies that are going to win the race are the ones that can take those capabilities and compose them to the customer that you're serving at a faster speed to value, highly personalized, et cetera. So that's how we would like to think about it. And the difference being that our transformation is comprehensive. It is a cultural transformation first. It's a ways of working transformation, a business process transformation, and then a technology transformation. So what that does also, Sean, is to kind of really put that customer at the center of the flywheel and not forget who we're serving at the end of the day.
What do you think about that?
I mean, going back to the previous thing, I don't think hotel companies should invest in tech. I mean, HTV or Highgate Tech Ventures is not a hotel site. It's actually we're very focused on investing as a separate arm altogether from that. So on the second question, which was Sean, which was related to
how well. I'm not sure in the second question. What was second or first?
Build versus buy, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I think we should move on to the next one.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you very much, Naveen. Thank you, Kurien. Yeah, thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.